You have no. I don't know why the fuck I'm asking. I don't know why the fuck I'm asking you. Hey, am I recording? But my buddy Trey Bennett, episode 223,
Done.
and we were last time I remember you mentioning, or it might have even been when we talked online, like Reddit or something. But it was I remember you like casually dropped. You were like, yeah, we were talking about kind of paranormal, not really paranormal, but I don't know. I guess what you'd call spiritual shit is.
Yeah.
Is this glitching? Is the internet glitching?
A little bit of audio lag, but
All right, it's glitching on this end, but whatever. But yeah, I remember you kind of mentioned offhand. You were like, "Oh, and I was raised in a cult." Just kind of like, and I was like, "Wait, what?"
yeah.
And so I was like, "Well, fuck, that's an episode." And yeah, enough of my fucking stupid small talk. You've been on before. You can introduce yourself, Trey Bennett.
Yeah, tend to go by John.
Okay.
I've actually that's something we can go into.
Okay.
The reason why I went from going by Trey when I was much younger to switching to John, again, ties to getting out of a cult. Get that flank out from behind me. It's defeating the purpose of my chair. But yeah, so I was raised in a cult. I was raised in the Jehovah's Witness cult. It's a group that came out of around the same time in U.S. history as the Mormons, through that Second Great Awakening. That started with some dude who decided that, hey, let's look at the Bible just as the Bible without any other input. Started the group that would eventually branch off into, I forget what the other group that is far less successful, and then the group that became the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Okay.
That guy decided, I want to be the top dog now, did some ridiculous shit to like put down the name of the other guy, to the point where growing beards is looked down upon, if not like against their aspects of their belief.
Yeah.
Like you can't hold higher positions in the organization with a beard.
Yeah.
Because the first guy had a fucking badass beard to like here.
Yeah.
And the second guy knew that other people were growing beards to imitate him and said, all right, no more beards.
Okay. Kind of like
so,
Hitler.
yeah.
Yeah. Kind of like Hitler ruining toothbrush mustache.
Almost. Yeah. Yes. Very similar thing.
Yeah.
To some extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it grew to have, I think, 7 or 8 million followers. They've been purging members recently because a lot of people are realizing, hey, this is a cult. They've been moving the goalposts for 150 years, and the math doesn't track for any of the shit that they've said. Also, they've been under investigation through numerous government organizations, most recently the Australian Royal Commission, into their handling of child abuse and child sex abuse in the organization as a whole. It would make the Catholic Church blush the way they handle that shit. Like, it's really messed up. The Australian Royal Commission was basically, hey, these are charitable organizations, which, again, not a charity. They do nothing charitable. They don't give money to help anybody. No, there's none of that.
Okay.
The only reason they're a charitable organization is because they're a religion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a later on down the line.
Sure.
And it was numerous groups that were part of this commission, and there were only 4 that refused to change their policies. It was 3 little dinky little club type things in Australia and the Jehovah's Witnesses. A group with, like I said, 8 million some odd followers around the globe.
Yeah. And what is it exactly that they so like the Catholic Church, if I can recall correctly, it's they cover their own asses by moving child abusers, pedophiles. I don't know why I'm trying to sanitize it. Pedophiles, guys who fucked kids. They move them by moving them to different church or to different, I guess, what would the correct term be? I don't know. Congregations. I don't know. Different churches, basically. Different physical churches. They moved them around.
Parishes, I think is what it is in the Catholic Church.
Yes, parishes.
Something like that.
Moved them around so as not to taint the image of the church as a whole. It would just, we got rid of him, don't worry about him. And as long as he's out, the parish is like, whatever, he's gone. And the new parish has no idea. Hey, just new priest coming in, whatever.
Yeah. So it's actually, there are certain aspects of it that are very similar to that. The way they handle it is very much like that.
Okay.
Again, refusing to inform authorities. They go a step further where they have something called the two witness rule that has caught them a lot of flack and they've only doubled down on.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what that is there have to be two witnesses to indecent activity in order for them to go outside of their little structure. So you got to have two other people besides the kid diddler and the kid who was victimized by that fucking creep.
Yeah.
You got to have two other people to say, yeah, we saw it happen.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
So
and they make up some excuse about some biblical reasoning of why that's the way it's supposed to be as a way of protecting people's names. No, you're protecting child abusers. You're protecting pedophiles. You're protecting
child, but you're protecting kid diddlers. You're protecting guys that fuck kids. Like there's no we're just gonna start saying guys that fuck kids. I'm not even gonna say pedophile because any other word other than guy who fucked kid, it's putting makeup on it, and I don't think they deserve that. So these guys that fucked kids. Now how does that draw into the legal questions of, I guess, government organizations? Because
that's where the Australian Royal Commission, and there was also an investigation done in the UK for a while, and I think the UN had started one at one point. And their association with the UN is a fucking roller coaster of flip-flopping, flim-flam bullshit to try to save face with the world around them while still telling the people inside the UN is going to be what brings about Armageddon, with some absolutely asinine construct pulled in from Revelation that the UN is the mighty beast that was going to destroy Babylon the Great, the evil harlot.
Yeah.
They said that the UN was going to be that. And they painted the UN as this evil, anti-religious entity.
Sure.
While behind the scenes, from about 1995 to, I want to say, around 2001, my dates are a little bit fuzzy, I'll be honest, they were a part of the UN. They were a UN-recognized entity.
Okay.
I don't know whether it was charity or religion, whatever.
Sure.
While still saying, oh, the UN is this big, bad, scary thing that's going to that God is going to use to bring about Armageddon and wipe out all of humanity, except for those of you who say, hey, I believe this bullshit, that these 8 drunkards up in New York and New Jersey say, hey, this is what God says now. It's just
it's insane. It's insane, but more so, I mean, hey, you want to believe this or that, knock your socks off. Hey, more power to you. But I don't want to get that confused. Like, I don't necessarily believe it, but hey, if that's your belief, whatever it is, Islam, Buddhism, whatever, knock your socks off. It's the whole fucking kids part that it's like. Well,
see, there's other aspects of it too. Like that is a thing that everybody can get behind. Is that's fucked up.
Yes.
My oldest sister was one of the closest people in my life to me for most of my childhood.
Okay.
Until I started to disobey the word and everything that they expected me to live by.
Yeah.
When that... I'm so sorry.
No, you're good. Did you hiccup?
I just belched. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Your sister,
I just ate dumplings and I'm drinking beer. I'm full of yeast right now.
Sorry, no, you're fine. Your sister?
Yeah. She has not spoken to me or my little sister in probably close to 5 years, at least.
Okay.
all because I decided, hey, I might not be exactly straight.
Okay.
And from that moment on, she said, if you're going to live that way, I can't have you a part of my life.
Do you mean sexuality or like sobriety or like
sexuality?
Okay. Because it's, and I know in Buddhism they use straight as, it always confused me. They use getting straight as like not smoking pot, or not Hinduism. Okay. So, all right. So after that, they said that you can't be part of their life.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they have refused to speak to me in any capacity. With the exception of one day, and that was when my grandmother passed away. Sure. My parents and her, they're the only ones in my family who are part of this cult.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Yeah.
When my grandmother passed away, because of all the abuse and everything that I went through at the hands of my mom because of this cult, and because of other issues that she has that don't exactly pertain to the story, so they're going to sit off to the side. Because of all that, my grandparents were very often the closest thing I had to parents. They were the parental influence in my life.
Yeah.
My grandfather's the reason I joined the Army.
Yeah.
You know, he's the one that basically made me who I am.
Yeah.
As far as the good-natured parts of me, my grandmother as well.
Yeah.
She passed away last December.
Yeah, we talked about that in the previous episode. For anyone, I can't remember. Just look it up. You'll find it. It's in the early 100s. It's around July-ish.
Title Astral Projection.
Yes.
Give it a listen.
Yes, it's a great episode. It's a fantastic episode, actually. But
if you want to watch me cry like a baby,
hey, dude, episode 83. If you want to watch me cry like a baby, hey, I fucking cried on here, dude. It doesn't get. It doesn't matter. Hey, I was the first to do it. I popped the tear cherry, so now everyone's free to do it. And if anyone has a problem with it, they can fuck right off, unsubscribe, go away, all right? Because this is, hey, crying's just as natural as laughing. We just do one and open. And yeah, crying is absolutely healthy. You know who doesn't cry? Psychopaths, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yeah,
no, it's absolutely healthy. Yeah.
So at her funeral, at my grandmother's funeral, this woman who had not spoken to me in like 4 years at that point comes up, tries to pat me on my shoulder, tries to pretend like she cares about me.
Your mom.
No, my sister.
Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
After not speaking to me, not a word to me for 4 years.
Yeah.
Because that's what this cult does. That's just like any cult. The way they recruit is by looking for people who are weak and vulnerable, swooping in there saying, hey, we can give you a sense of meaning and a sense of purpose. By the way, you have to completely abandon everything in your life. Listen only to us. Anything you hear bad about us is apostate material, and it's dangerous, and you shouldn't believe it. They're trying to sully the good name of Jehovah God, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how much you know about Scientology, but it's very similar to the Scientology SP, the suppressive persons, or whatever the fuck they call it. Scientology has it.
Explain
Jehovah's
it for
Witnesses have it in the form of apostates, is their term for it. And I think that's something that I don't know what the term that Mormons use for that same idea, but it's basically somebody who is either in the organization, left, and is now saying, hey, here's all the fucked up shit that they're actually about, or somebody who was never a part and is saying, hey, this group's fucked up.
Yeah. And it's, so those people are, so they just tell you that is, so that person is sacrilegious, that person's the devil, don't give them the time
they're
of day.
Being used by the devil, whatever.
Okay.
Shit, if my parents watch this podcast, I may never speak to them again. Okay. They may never want to talk to me again. But you know what? If they're going to put that fucking cult above their own family, that's their loss, not mine.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. It's, anything other, it's people doing shit like that is, I mean, it's often, I've had another guy on here, I think it was episode 23, Philip Bass, who was in a cult by accident. He was in New Dawn, DAHN, and in like Seattle in like the 90s or something. But
is that one of those Eastern philosophy, like Buddhism-esque type.
But it's hilarious because like he accidentally joined it and like actually didn't know. He was just going to do yoga. And if you watch this episode with him, because when I remember before I had him on, I was like, I was just thinking in my mind, I was like, how the fuck do you accidentally join? I'm still friends with him. We still text, like you and I text. He's been on here a couple times. And as you get to know him, you're like, oh, this guy actually just kind of like, just wrong place, wrong time. And next thing he knew was just kind of like, hold up, I'm in a cult. And it was just like, but yeah, it was just like, fuck this. But I remember asking him, I remember what he said, his point of me saying that is, he's like, it's often easy to look at hypothetically and be like, I would never get sucked into a cult. Or if I was part of one, I would say, fuck you and walk away. He's like, they don't look you in the eyes and say, we're in a cult and we're manipulating you. A manipulative, controlling person, their ability to be manipulative and controlling is by acting like they are not manipulative and controlling. I wouldn't do that, man. That's fun. I bet some people would, but, I wouldn't do that. Why don't you come to Mass? We'll talk this over. That's the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And that type of thing I've encountered, both through literally being taught how to do that.
Oh, fuck.
Literally being taught from the age I could talk to try to get people to join the organization, try to join that cult. It's something that they start implementing as soon as possible if you're born into it.
Can we go into that?
And it is... It affects the way I think to this day.
I'm sure it does. Can you recap it? Or can you just go over it?
So basically, the way it started, from what I can remember, because some stuff went on in my life around that time that I have limited memory of this time.
Okay.
Just because of the nature of the brain and the way that when fucked up shit happens, it tries to block it out. Real easy to do in childhood trauma.
Didn't happen. No idea. Yeah, it's your brain. Yeah. It's your brain going like, I'm going to take care of you. Or at least trying to.
Yeah. Which we can get back into when we get back to talking about the child sex abuse.
Sure.
Because my experience as a child directly ties into that.
Okay.
Both then and now. But going back to the earliest I can remember, they have tracts. They're basically just these little brochures, basically, that give you a basic little anecdote, very similar to just about anything you'll see from any of these proselytizing churches. For more information and for a Bible study, call da-da-da-da-da or go to wherever. Same shit that they all do. And in little kids, they start teaching you to go and knock on randos' doors and say, I'd like to leave this with you. Literally using children as, this is an adorable thing. How can you say no to a kid? And you give it to them. And if they're not home, you fold it up a little more and put it in their door so that they have to take it and have to see it. Yeah. And that is something that continued up into, that is part of what they do. That is part of their recruiting tactics, is that going out and putting it in the doors, in that door-to-door work that Jehovah's Witnesses are infamous for. There's only two types of people who are knocking on your door at 8:30 on a Saturday morning. And if there's not a bicycle sitting out front, it's probably the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah, it's it's IRS or Jehovah's Witnesses, right?
Or the Mormons. Yeah. Like before my dad was even part of the organization. This was back in the 80s. He had a joke. He lived in Charlottesville, Virginia, in the mountains. His driveway was like 45-degree slant. It was steep. Like I've driven past the house. Yeah. It's a very, very steep hill.
Yeah.
He said that the only two types of people who would ever make it up the driveway were encyclopedia salesmen, shows the age of the joke, and Jehovah's Witnesses. So this is something that goes back even then.
Okay.
And it's such a part of what they do, and it's that they use the backlash that they get for that. They use the people saying, oh, I'm not interested, or they use the doors slamming in their face, or in my area, as directly happened to me multiple times, the gun barrel pointed in your face. as, oh, this is God's sign that we're doing the right thing, that these people are persecuting us for our message.
Okay. Fuck. So you got a gun pointed at you?
Multiple times. My sister has too.
So it's just people just sick of it. Sick of it, or maybe had a bad brush-in with it and were like truly sick of it.
Yeah. Well, I've already said, if the time ever comes where a Jehovah's Witness steps on my porch and I know that that's what they're doing, I'm opening the door with my pants around my ankles and a sword in the other hand saying, would you like to learn about Valhalla?
Yeah. Like, you got to out-crazy them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You have to out-crazy them. You got to take your pants off, start crying, vomit, trip, and knock yourself out. And they're going to be like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then have your eyes roll back into your head and just go all Undertaker, just sit up with your eyes just only showing the whites.
Sit up and then just start fucking reading Latin backwards. Like, eyes wide shut. Be like, yeah.
I took Latin in high school.
Yeah, you could do it.
I might just try.
You could do that. Get your, just like, you just got to you got to bring it to them. That's like Tim Dillon was like, the only way to deal with woke people is to outwake them. He's like, when they're like, we're taking down the statues, he's like, fuck that pussy shit. We're putting a tactical nuke in D.C. They're like, what? And he's like, fuck one statue, we're obliterating it all. He's like, you just got to outwoke them. That's the only way you can deal with them. We need to get rid of systemic racism. No, we need a thermonuclear warfare of the whole world and kill everyone. They're like, what the fuck? That's the only woke position. But yeah, you got to out crazy them. But sorry, so you've had a gun pointed at you and you take it. Okay, so it's twisted into, hey, we're there. This is good. We're doing God's work.
Yeah, it's the level of cognitive dissonance behind that.
Yeah.
Of, hey, there's some fucked up shit that is so just wrong with what we are telling these people that they're literally, get the fuck off my property. I don't want to hear your shit. And it's twisted, and it's turned around to be this wonderful thing of, having kids at conventions with 100,000 people jammed into a sports arena, talking about how they've lost schoolyard friends because of their love for Jehovah. No, it's because you're an intolerable prick and what you believe is so broken and just absolutely asinine. It's not persecution. You're just a fucking moron.
You're not being persecuted. You're just an asshole. That'd be like if you're like, girls block my number because they are so, they don't know what to do about their attraction to me. And it's like, no, it's not that. It's because you're a fucking creep. And it's like,
they don't want nice guys.
No.
They do. You're just not nice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Girls don't like nice guys. Sure they do. You're just not one of them.
Yeah.
Everybody likes nice people. If that's your excuse, guess what? You're not a nice person.
But yeah, the level of
cognitive dissonance.
The cognitive dissonance, and it's ingrained, like I said, from literally the age of which you can process shit.
Jesus.
It starts before then.
So they're really getting in. It's like the metaphor, like while the metal's still hot. They're getting in there and really just literally and figuratively molding the brain. I mean, through neuroplasticity, they are molding the brain. But
and they admit to that, but they say that it's a good thing because you're like clay and God is molding you with his own hands to what he wants you to be. No, it's you doing this.
It's you. It's don't whenever someone starts bringing up the clay, that's you immediately you're like, fuck off. You fuck right off. And they're like, listen, you are like a virgin canvas. And you're like, bitch, get your fucking paint away from me. Like, I don't want any of your Picasso shit. Like,
this is the only paint I want on me.
Exactly. I'll color myself. Thank you very much. I passed kindergarten. I can do this. But do you remember the first time? Sorry, no. Do you remember the first ones? The first. What are your earliest memories of that indoctrination, of how to get people to join?
So like I said, it started with this I like this, I think you should read it type things. This is about God, this is about Jesus, I think you should read it.
But that's what they're telling you to say to people.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And it started to grow and into them having me read the magazines and everything, which any group is going to make you read their literature if you're going to be a part of it.
Yeah.
That like this style of thing,
Yeah.
tying it back into like Mormonism and Scientology. Like I've looked into and pretended that I'm interested in these groups a few times just to see the similarities of how they go about. Because like I said, I'm familiar with the methods. They gave me the fucking playbook.
Yeah.
So I know what to expect, especially with Jehovah's Witnesses and that style of recruiting. So LDS, and that type of thing. But they'd have you read that, and they had a brochure called Our Kingdom Ministry that comes out every month, I think it was, that actually had little snippets of, hey, this is something in these articles that you should talk about to try to get people in. And from the age where I could remember shit and pick it up, my parents would cut that out and give it to me to learn and to just recite at people.
Okay.
And it's specifically designed to not sound like a cult. It's specifically designed to sound like either religious information or even sometimes scientific minded, tied into God.
Okay.
They did that a lot with one of their magazines, the Awake magazine. As a kid, that was my favorite thing because I'd read it and there was science in it, and some of it was sound science.
Okay.
But then they'd put on that, oh, look at this cool thing in nature. Now, was that designed, or was it created? Was it created through evolution, or was it designed by intricate workings from a loving, all-knowing, all-powerful God? Things like the way that a woodpecker can bash his head into a hardwood tree without concussing himself.
Yeah.
Things like the way that dragonfly wings, things in nature that make sense when you look at it through actual, how evolution and adaptations actually occur in nature.
Yeah.
But they just slap the label of God on it.
Yeah.
Completely ignorant to the fact that we have, written records of the adaptations and evolution of one of the ones that, looking back, gets me the most is they had the different beak structures of the Galapagos finch as this is creation.
Yes.
No, we've got the literal evidence of the adaptations of them developing into different types of finches.
Have you read Beak of the Finch or Beak and the Finch?
I haven't.
It's a book I had to read in college for evolutionary biology. But not only do they have the evidence, they get it in real time. They go and they measure like every bird on the island, and then like a year goes by and they thought they fucked it up because they could only find a differentiation of like 1/100th of a millimeter. But then it turns out that one's progeny took over like 95% of the next year, and they were like, "Oh my god!" They're like, "This is real time mating. This is like real time natural selection." But yeah. And
they take that information, and rather than saying, "Hey, this is proof that natural selection, adaptations, and evolution actually exist, and that's how there's so much diversity in nature," it's God, bro.
Yeah, it's
God.
It's God, and if you say anything, you're the devil, and I'm warned to stay away from you.
Yeah. And that goes into something called, which you might have heard before. It's the bite model or something like that. The bite something model, I think is what it is. Bite model, where it's levels of control to tell if something is a cult. Behavior control. They control how you behave. You have to be straight. You have to be clean shaven. You must not have premarital sex. You can't smoke. You can only drink like once a month or whatever, but it's frowned upon. You can't smoke. You can't take any drugs. You're supposed to go in service at least once a week, and we will record the hours and who you talk to and how you talk to them and how many Bible studies you have, how many people you're bringing into the organization, and we will shame you if you're not doing enough. Subtly, not blatantly, but we're going to subtly maybe you should, try to get in the field service some more, and, maybe go in service with some of the pioneers who can really tell you, give you good advice about how to better your work in the field service.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's insane that they go through all this shit. But second nature to them.
Yeah.
They don't see anything wrong with it.
They're not, yeah. It's like when you really learn a language, which I never did, but I took German, and I still had to think about German. But I remember my brother took Spanish and actually lived in like South America, and he was like, you get to a point where you no longer are thinking in your head, how do I say this? You just start to do it. It sounds like that's what they're doing with their cult enforcement and reinforcement. It's no longer like, okay, let's hit them with the 1-2. It's just, it gets to a point where they're like, oh, you haven't been to service.
Yeah, you haven't been. Why haven't you been going in service? You haven't. You've gotten 3 hours of field service time in the past month. There were 5-6 Saturdays in this month. What came up that prevented you from going in service? And whatever excuse you gave was looked down on. You were talked about and gossiped about if you showed up to the meetings and right when they started and left right when they ended without talking to anybody. They gossiped. Oh, did you see that
so and so
brother Pimo left right after the end of the meeting? He didn't stay to socialize. I wonder what's going on. Like, it constant.
Some Gestapo shit.
No, seriously, it really is. And that's that behavior control. It's subtle and it's so insidious that you don't even notice it's happening until you look back and see, holy shit, this has been going on this whole time. Or it's things like, so that's B, bite model, I, information control. Like I was saying earlier, any information about the organization, the only trusted source is jw.org.
Okay.
Anything else is apostate material. Anything else, if it doesn't come directly from the organization, you can't trust it as credible information about anything.
Okay.
Mostly specifically to the organization, but about anything that they are even remotely involved with, unless it comes from the organization, you are not supposed to trust it. And it's so much to the point that, like I said, if my parents saw that I'm talking bad about this organization in this way and talking about, the information that went on inside and the way that it's actually being handled by outside organizations, they won't ever talk to me anymore. Nobody that I grew up with, none of my friends from my childhood have I spoken to in 5 years at least.
Jesus. So it's just shut you out. They don't let no dissent. Could excise the cancer.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the question has to be asked, then how do people get out, such as yourself?
I got lucky. I had my grandparents.
Yeah.
I owe my getting out to my grandfather.
Shout out Trish.
I was in a very dark place in my life. I had tried to kill myself more times than I could count at this point.
Sure.
I was to the point where I could not handle any more of the bullshit, that information control, the thought control. Everything was just too much. I was thinking that there was something wrong with me because I didn't feel perfectly aligned to the biological sex I was born to. I didn't feel perfectly aligned to the sexual orientation I was expected to follow.
Sure.
And I didn't feel that the stuff I was going and spending 40 hours a month or more telling other people, I didn't feel like I believed a single fucking word of it.
Okay.
And so for 4 weeks, I was in a psychiatric hospital, basically.
Sure.
I was in a hospital.
Sure.
Trying to figure this shit out.
Sure.
The doctors had said, look, it's your parents that are fucking you up so bad. We're going to stop any communication. We're not going to allow your parents around you because we can't directly do that without you saying, but this is the healthiest course of action. Mm-hmm. They are the problem here. What do you think? I said, okay, yeah. My grandfather comes to visit me like a week before Christmas. I'm going to pause here for a moment and say something I might have said in the last one. Up until that point, I had never seen him cry, ever. The only time I'd ever heard that he had cried was when his mother passed away.
Sure.
I'd never seen him cry.
Sure.
He comes in and says, look, I don't give a fuck what your parents think. You are my family, first and foremost, no matter what God thinks, no matter what anybody. You are my family. Family comes first. I want you to come home with me. I don't care how you identify. I don't give a shit about any of that. Whatever's going on in your head, you are still my grandchild. That is the most important thing. I left that day with him. And I moved into his house and I never looked back.
Fuck yeah.
It was 2 or 3 years after that I joined the Army.
Fuck yeah.
And that was the second time that I ever saw that man cry. Was when I was standing in formation at family day at graduation, or before graduation, and then again at graduation. When he came into the families were walking through trying to find their loved ones there in the formation. My grandfather's right behind me. I saw them coming up. I'm still standing. I'm in formation. I'm locked in. I'm not moving. Until right behind me, I hear him say, Private John Keith Bennett. And he's pretty much right behind me. He doesn't see me. He doesn't recognize me. He hadn't seen me clean shaven in 3 years. He hadn't seen me without hair ever.
Yeah.
And so I hear him right behind me, and I whip around, and I throw my arms around him, and I just feel him start crying as he's telling me how proud he is of me.
Fuck yeah.
That is something I never would have experienced had I stayed in that organization.
100%. Yeah.
So I was extremely lucky to have my grandparents not be part of it. So many people don't have the luxury of having direct family who is not a part.
Yeah.
So often, or if they do, they're absolutely in no contact with them whatsoever. They've completely alienated them, which my mom has done with my grandfather fairly thoroughly for a very long time. Right after I got out, it was pretty much over between them for 2 years at least. Yeah. They wouldn't speak a word to them. It wasn't until my grandmother's health started failing that my parents actually started changing their tune a little bit.
Sure.
As far as my grandfather goes.
Sure.
But so many people who are in that organization don't have that option. Especially people who are born in, it's usually their parents and their grandparents. If you're, second or third generation in it, your family and that organization is all you have.
Yeah.
As far as I had lucked out, I had been kind of drifting away for a while. I had a double life, which is something they massively dissuade against, obviously. That goes into that behavior control and everything like that. The emotional control as well. That whole aspect of the bite model, leading a double life, is completely against, which was good for me because I had friends. Mm-hmm. I had my grandparents still. And so I was able to get out, I want to say fairly unscathed for leaving a cult. I'll put it that way.
Yeah.
But there's still hundreds of people that were part of my life who I haven't seen or spoken to in over half a decade.
Yeah.
Because of my leaving that organization. And for some people, that's the end of the road. They don't have the options. They don't have anybody outside. I was lucky to have that.
Yeah.
And my younger sister and I were so close that I was able to, and my grandparents as well, we were all able to be there for her when she started questioning her own sexuality and questioning the beliefs herself, because she knew from a younger age than I was that she was not perfectly straight. And we both did the same thing. We massively overcorrected and said, oh, we have to go in whole hog because God will help us fight these wicked temptations. When we finally realized, no, all this bullshit that they're shoving down our throat is not right.
That's not love. Yeah.
We were able to get out.
Yeah.
And I was already out. I was able to be there and say, look, come on. I welcome you. I get it. I was there. I know exactly what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I was extremely lucky in terms of that I was able to get out, because there's you just have to look for just a couple moments on the XJW subreddit, and you will see all kinds of people who are still trapped in it and are trying desperately to get out, or trying desperately to pull their families out of it, because they know how dangerous it is. They know how destructive it is. And just like any cult, when they take over your entire fucking life, there are people that the main descriptive factor about them is that they're Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah. Because that's all it is. Your whole life is that organization.
Yeah.
And that's the way it is with so many cults. It's all about that organization. You're not allowed to socialize outside. That's, bad association. That's worldly people. You're not allowed to, you need to minimize your contact with them. And if you are in contact, you're encouraged to preach to them unendingly, to the point where they just ad nauseum. You're supposed to try to force that shit down their throat.
Yeah.
And it's just like any cult. They do that same shit. And that just alienates more and more people. It allows them to further the persecution complex.
Yes.
But it also destroys and makes it harder and harder to get out.
Yeah. But it also means that those still in are susceptible to like hyper radicalization, right?
Oh yeah.
It's because kind of
very
like
much.
evolution, like go to the Galapagos Islands. It's when you are completely removed, they just go off on their own evolutionary lineage, and it's like where other places you get like a bird or a cat. It's like that's how you end up with some
Australia.
Right. That's where you get like a platypus or something, or like a deep sea squid. It's just like what is that, right? But that's what happens. That's what Ed Snowden said on his second appearance on Joe Rogan, was like the problem with banning neo-Nazis, with Marxists, with racists, with anti-Semites, with whatever. The problem with
gives
that
them exactly what they want.
Well, he goes, because you're persecuting them, and they're like, hey, taking flack over the target, and it's like, no. But I get the idea, and I'm completely for it. You're a private platform. Unlike most people, I think if you're a private platform, you're allowed to do whatever you want. I don't agree with it because a lot of my shit gets censored, but that's a different argument for another time. Point being is, by kicking off these groups, what happens is there's no one to challenge them, so they end up on their own little group me or WhatsApp text group or whatever.
4chan.
Whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Whatever form of group communication, and there was no one there to challenge it, and it turns into a Galapagos Islands of sorts. It spirals off, and there's no one to challenge. Versus if you're allowed to be on a social media platform, you can't one that robs the persecution complex, right? Two, if you're on Facebook and you're like, hey, Sig Heil, we're doing this, and everyone's just commenting like, look at these fucking losers, like, right? You can only get so much of that before you're like, hey, like, maybe there's a reason why, right? Because with a cult, back in the day, you could physically disconnect. Hey, you can't come onto our compound. You don't hear anything. But if you're allowed to get online, and then you post a picture of you Sig Heiling, and then someone comments like, look at this fucking loser, you're gonna be like, whoa, what?
But see, the tricky thing with that as well, and is
you're also gonna gain people.
It further, but it furthers even that. Look at this fucking loser. It furthers again that persecution complex.
Okay.
Honestly, a lot of times, the way I look at it with the cult that I was a part of, I was in it. I know so much about it from most of my life being invested in it that I need to do my part to inform people of how fucked it is.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to directly go to the group and attack them directly in any way, because that gives them fuel to, oh, we're being persecuted. From my experience, the best way to deal with that shit is to just shun and ignore them entirely. And yeah, it creates a bit of an echo chamber, but if nobody's listening to what they're saying, nobody's being damaged by them either.
Okay, touche. Yeah. It's just
that,
yeah.
And now, I mean, you got to block everybody out, and like you were saying, you don't need to censor and all that, because you will create an echo chamber that makes it worse, and you end up building shit like, you isolate, okay, only this very specific group of people know anything about the Turner Diaries, for instance, and then you perpetuate that idea of, oh, this is something that only we know about, and we can use this as a mechanism to strike back against the people who are against us. Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah.
And you build that. It's so tricky to deal with, and it's such a fine line to walk. With all this shit, honestly. And the only way to do it is by fucking figuring it out as you go along.
Yeah.
And that's what I've had to do for, ever since I got out, which was in 2016, so 4 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like the best move, none of them are good answers, but I feel like the best move is probably just ignore them. Don't censor them. Yeah. Don't confront them and say, you're stupid, you're retarded, you got to leave this group. No, just don't talk to them. Don't make a show of it. I'm ignoring you. Nope, just. Yeah. I feel like that's probably.
Okay. All right, bud.
Gotcha.
Whatever you want to say.
Yep. It's like that Buddhist teaching, how to deal with like negative people, and it's like just no reaction whatsoever, and eventually they'll start to be a little confused, because it's like throwing a rock down a well and it doesn't make a noise. They throw this thing at you and you're just like, okay, and like, where's the reaction? It's just like, nope. There's just. I feel like that's probably the least damaging thing, if there can be a good answer. Now, let's start speculating wildly for the sake of it's my podcast, and we can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah.
Do you think that there are, like, armed groups? Because I know Scientology, I know they have, like, internal prisons, and based on nothing but a video game, Far Cry 5, which is by the way, you should fucking play.
Yeah, it's on my list. The whole Far Cry series is on my list. No, you
skip the first 4. Go to 5. It's about cults in Middle America. It is fantastic.
At what time frame?
It's like 2018, 2019.
Oh, okay.
It is, dude. It is.
I was gonna say, because if it's 200 years ago, guess what? It's the Mormons and the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Nope.
That's
it is
exactly the time they came out.
They're all.
Well, actually, no, they came out of New York.
Yeah, no, they're all preppers. It's great. They're all preppers, and they have it's everything you're talking about, but they're also armed to the fucking teeth. So speculating wildly and based on no facts whatsoever, but whatever.
Kind of an Om Shinrikyo type thing.
Yeah. Do you think that they have any like Branch Davidian style, like, they're ready to rock and then get burnt to a crisp by the ATF? But I digress. Do you think that they're...
Yeah. Oh, we can go down the Branch Davidian rabbit hole if you want to. I've got some opinions on the fucking Branch Davidians.
I love Bill Hicks's bit on them.
Brief tangent.
No, go for it, dude.
All of their weapons were registered and legally purchased. Their main source of income was trading firearms at legal gun shows. The ATF had no business there.
No,
everything was done legal, even to the point of him changing his name to David Koresh. He did through the legal route.
Yeah.
There was no reason, and the only reason that the ATF came up with for going in was the child abuse, which the ATF has no jurisdiction over.
Yeah, that's another.
Them fucking it up directly led to the fucking Oklahoma City bombing, and
It's that's like a tricky one because that's a tricky one because if you go into it, people are like, oh, so you're defending this cult, and you're like, no, it's you have to like separate it as like a Second Amendment issue, but it's it's another one of those like beautifully you have to respect your enemy. It's a beautifully woven thing where they made it so where if you defend it or question what happened at Waco, it's that you are a pro cult and not necessarily anti infringing on the Second Amendment, right? It's hey, you're in it. They weave it beautifully, right? But
again, it's information control.
It is
going back to the bite method.
It is. Have you heard Bill Hicks, who died in I think '93, but he has a good bit, and it's not even really a bit. It's just like a random thing I saw at one of his shows online. But he's like, know what we learned from the Branch Davidians? He goes, first of all, I remember the news making it out, and they're like, here's a guy that wears tight jeans, is armed to the teeth, and wants to fuck everything in skirts, and thinks and has a messianic complex. And he goes, I don't know what to tell you, man, but that sounds like all my friends in Austin. And he goes, he goes, but second of all, he goes, you know what the real lesson was? You will do as the state says, or we will show up and we will burn you and your kids to a fucking crisp because the state always wins. Yeah. And he goes, that's what the message was. And
to the point where when the Branch Davidian flag had burned to the point where it broke free from the flagpole, those fucksticks raised the ATF flag like they won some fucking battle. Like it was fucking Iwo Jima or some shit.
Yeah, really, you're just burning a bunch of kids.
Yeah, you're chucking tear gas and CS gas into a building that has been heated with kerosene because you cut the power to it, and you throw an incendiary tear gas canister in there and then wonder why it all blew up.
Yeah, not to mention that armored personnel carrier that had that flamethrower on the front. And to be fair, I don't know enough.
Or the tanks that were shoving evidence into the fire as the compound was burning to the ground. Yeah. The tanks that shouldn't have been there in the first place. Yeah. The tanks that were driving over dying and dead Branch Davidians like they were fucking pebbles.
Yeah, yeah. For the record, so
I'm not supporting Branch Davidians. I want to go ahead and get that clear.
No, I got you. No, dude.
ATF.
No, you fucked
that up real bad.
No, you're fine. Yeah, no, I normally try to speak on stuff I know about. Like I love the Cold War. I'll admit I don't even know enough about the entire Waco thing I can talk shit and make some jokes, but no, just for my own, like I don't know enough to actually really take a side on it. I know Bill Hicks, but that's it. Have you heard of have you ever heard of what's his name? Marvin Heemeyer, the fucking Killdozer.
Killdozer rings a bell. But...
Killdozer, yeah, Marvin Heemeyer. He put like 6 tons of like bulletproof steel and concrete over a bulldozer because he was just fucked again and again and again by the city he lived in. I mean, and there's a great video by a channel called I don't know how to pronounce it, QXIR, Quixer, on the Killdozer. And they go into it, and it's like Marvin Heemeyer really was a reasonable man pushed to be unreasonable. And he eventually built a tank and just destroyed like a town. Didn't kill anyone. But they almost brought in, the governor was debating signing like an order to bring in an Apache helicopter, but they decided it'd be bad optics.
Deploying military equipment on civilians again. Yeah. Because that went so well.
Yeah, it's so do you think Jehovah's Witnesses, do you think they're armed?
I
speculated wildly for the record.
Believe so.
Asterisk.
I honestly don't think so.
Yeah.
That being said, I also would not be surprised to hear that they went the Aum Shinrikyo route of manufacturing chemical weapons or something like that to try to bring about the Armageddon they've been preaching about for 200 years.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I would not necessarily a chemical warfare, not necessarily, sarin gas attacks on the subway system. They moved out of New York, so I'm a little less worried about that in some sense, but they're in the middle of fucking nowhere in New Jersey now, so who knows what the fuck they're doing out there. Yeah. I actually toured at the time, there are 3 different branches of their U.S. headquarters. The one in New York City, the one in Wallkill and the one in Patterson, and I also toured the Canadian headquarters of their organization. And there is so much of that fancy cult compound feel to it, that everybody just feels so robotic. You know, there's that cold kindness is how I describe it.
Sure.
That going above and beyond to make you feel welcome, to the point where it just feels extremely,
it's uncomfortable,
just ingenuine.
Yeah.
It just feels fake.
Yeah, okay.
It feels like they're, yeah.
Okay, yeah, like maybe some like uncanny valley shit, but for like mannerisms instead of AI facial expressions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
It's cold kindness is the only way I can describe it, as opposed to like Southern hospitality, which is, you know, because I mean, I know people, I'm kind of that way myself. I'll go above and beyond to make you feel welcome and make you feel like family in my house. That's the way I am. That's the way I was raised. See what's right there. You see what's right there, and you see what's right there.
Yeah.
I kind of have being nice just in my blood.
Yeah.
But going to those sites, and especially the Canadian one, because when I toured the Canadian one, I was already kind of on my way out of it. This was 2015, a year before I left. I had my doubts in my mind. I had already started those feelings of, I don't want to be a part of this anymore.
Yeah.
When I toured the one in New York, I didn't have that quite yet. It wasn't to the same extent that it was when I toured the Canadian one.
Yeah.
And so at the New York one, I was like, oh man, I was still fairly into the cult ideas and everything. And so it seemed like, man, this is the place I want to be. Everybody you deal with constantly is the same faith and the same thoughts and everything as you. Then going and touring the Canadian one a year before I left, already kind of out of that a little bit, I got a lot more of that, wait a minute, this is too good to be true. This feels extremely unsettling. And it opened my eyes a lot to how much of their shit is that act, is that charade to make it seem like there's something that they're not.
Sure.
But yeah, I especially the way things are going nowadays, with them desperately grasping at every straw they can and saying, oh, this is the sign that Armageddon is about. Oh, this is the sign. Mm-hmm. Everything keeps getting, this is and they're grasping at straws. I would not be surprised if they get to the point where they're like, we got to do something because we are purging members out the door. We need something to make them think it's actually happening.
Yes.
Like I said, It's entirely speculative. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I would not be surprised if they attempted to cause their own Armageddon.
It maybe even like somehow get the ATF to fuck them over. So I don't
expect it to. I don't think they go through the ATF. I don't think they. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know.
Yeah.
I honestly have no idea how they'd go about it, but I would not be surprised if they did something.
I mean, hey.
I don't think it would be a Branch Davidian situation. I honestly don't. I seriously think it would be much more along the lines of Om Shinrikyo.
What if they...
Or possibly even like a Jonestown, except on a fucking global scale.
I could see them just 150% speculation in all of my knowledge of cults. I could see them sacrificing some of their own unknowing to them and trying to get the ATF or someone to come in and murk them all and then be like, oh my goodness, golly gosh, look at that, it's Armageddon. You know, it's
and it's definitely entirely possible, but I just, from my experience with it, they very much try to be as non-violent as possible. So I can't figure out a way that would work with their belief system to bring about that level of interference. I can only think it would be something like what happened with Jonestown. Honestly, the Jonestown situation is the one that I can think happening the most likely. Government investigation into, hey, what the fuck is actually going on here?
Yeah.
Hey, they know they're gonna destroy us. We have to do something about it, and then imploding on themselves. That is most likely what I see the worst case scenario. Honestly, I don't think any of that's ever going to happen. I think eventually it's going to get to the point where they just run out of people and they're just a fucking fringe group that everybody's like, oh yeah, they exist.
Yeah. It's going to turn into like almost like a novelty. Oh yeah, they're still doing the thing.
Yeah.
Right?
At worst, it's going to be. I honestly think that at worst, realistically, it'll end up like a fucking Westboro Baptist Church of, oh yeah, those fuckheads still exist.
Hey, yeah, it's like, hey,
they're fucking insane.
Agree to disagree. Yeah, it's like, hey, don't like what they're saying, but I'll fight to the death of their right to say it. Right? It's just like, hey, you're not saying some horrible shit, but I mean, goddamn, if there's anyone out there really protecting First Amendment, it's Westboro Baptist, right? I mean, good Lord. I mean, that is going to be taken out of context years down the road.
Yeah.
Smile and wave.
Hope you don't try to run for political office there, bud.
2024, hopefully this podcast is 1,000 times bigger, and that one's making the rounds. But someone's going to find the unedited clip, which is this right now, and that was taken out of context.
Like, hey, this is where it came from. There's some context.
This is where so, hey, shout out to you, whoever you are that uploaded this on whatever the next platform is, Instagram to Facebook, whatever replaces that, in 2029. So thank you for finding the full clip. Shout out to you. But all those cults, they love hey, Westboro Baptist white supremacist Thomas Kerrigan on an old podcast has resurfaced as he and another white male in front of an American flag talked about the wonders of Westboro Baptist and how they hope for the weaponization.
Oh, look, one of them has a Gadsden flag behind them. That means they're a white supremacist. Look at the tattoos and the beard.
It's hey, look at that, blue eyes, my God almighty. And then they're gonna go back and they're gonna clip out the Sig Heil.
Yeah.
hey man, it's fuck it. You know what? No such thing as bad PR. So I'll let that run for 48 hours in the news cycle, and then I'll lawyer up. But all those cults, they love.
As long as the soundbite they take from me is "fuck the ATF," I'll be happy.
Hey, oh yeah, you gotta get it. You gotta get it in all. Fuck the ATF, Timothy McVeigh, Westboro. Yeah, and someone's gonna. You're not even gonna need to splice shit in 10 years. It's gonna be all deep fakes. Point being, is that 2020
way off topic.
2020 is delivering the apocalypse to all these groups that have just been pining for it for decades. 2020 this should be recruitment numbers of these should be record highs for these groups.
But here's why I think the Jehovah's Witnesses aren't doing that.
Okay.
They can't meet. And I think that's what the reason it is for a lot of these cults and everything. They can't come together. They can't go door to door and shove their beliefs down your throat.
Because you're COVID.
Exactly. The very thing that they were saying, oh, wait, this is going to be the sign of the end. They can't.
It's
you
dissolving.
You can't go about and say it. But I guarantee you, knowing the way the Jehovah's Witnesses think, that they're saying that is why this is the sign of the end, because they can no longer meet. That was part of their rhetoric, that something was going to happen, that they could no longer meet at Kingdom Halls. It's looking at everything like to be on a fly on the wall at the fucking headquarters, at the fucking governing body, sitting around there, a bunch of ugly old fucks just jerking it, slamming $800 bottles of whiskey, just wearing fucking Rolex watches, complaining about tight pants, homosexuals, and apostates the whole time.
There's a cult on a mountaintop in Grand Theft Auto 5. There's just like
the altruist.
The altruist, yes. I love going up there.
What you're talking about.
I fucking love going up there.
I have over 600 hours of gameplay in GTA.
I guarantee you I have north of 6,000. I'm not even fucking you, dude. I used to speed run the campaign. But unlike all those fucking bitches on YouTube, I love using cheats. I think that's part of the speed run tactic. You got to know which cheats to use, which ones, where can you enter them? Because some you can't enter them, because if you enter it, it somehow, if you're part of a cutscene, like, I don't know, scouting out the jewelry store with Lester, if you try to enter in like super jump so you can jump on top of the building, you actually hit the button and go into your glasses, and so you can't. So there's even tactics on when and where to punch in the cheats.
Well, see, that's one of my favorite things. This is completely off topic.
No,
that's one of the really cool things I like about speedrunning, watching speedruns, because I can't do it myself.
Yeah.
I get too distracted.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of like the cheat code percent speedruns.
Yeah, I think
because there is a level of strat.
There's 100% a level of strategy. There's 100%. I will fight to the death that argument. There is a strategy.
I think that editing cheats into the game and modding the game to speed run faster, that is bad. But if they're cheat codes and everything that are
native cheat codes
into the game,
that's part of the game.
Like the spawning a buzzard to fly and take out the law enforcement aircraft. I was like that with the Sanchez cheat for the longest time. I don't remember what it is anymore, but yeah,
I can do, let's see, invincibility. I can do max health and armor. That's super jump, fast run. There's the buzzard. That's Skyfall. Is that the only one?
That. I accidentally entered in that one because the Skyfall one is like one off from something else, like, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Skyfall is 1 2 1 2 left right 1 2 1 2 left right. Buzz. That I can't even tell you what they are. It's just muscle memory.
Yeah, you know the button passages for them, but
I know invincibility.
Jesus, fuck. We need to get on and play GTA Online at some point together. Just fucking around.
Fuck yes, we do. I'm trying to think. I know one more. Yeah, there we go. Weather. Yeah, and I've learned that one recently because playing.
You have it on PC.
I have it on Xbox One.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I use it to I listen to like audiobooks to like prep for like authors that I have on here, and because I'm ADD as fuck, what I do is I just listen to audiobooks, but I mute Grand Theft Auto, and so I'll just go into like director mode or something. And I used to speed run, but now I'll go into director mode because I do it in the evening, and the screen gives me a fucking headache.
Yeah.
so I go into director mode and I put it on. I put it on thundery weather and I put it on midnight, so it's just like near black. Turn on invincibility and I'll just do stupid shit. Like I love going on and just seeing like how many headshots in a row I can get or crazy shit. Have you ever done like the bike? This is something I never learned. Is like the way the physics engine is set up is the bottom of the motorcycles. Mm-hmm. It has its own gravitational force pulls down at I think like 1 meter per second squared as opposed to gravity 9.81, and it's so that when you go off, it's because without it somehow it's somehow less processing intensive to just like not model the bike a certain way and kind of quote unquote glue it to the ground as opposed to actually trying to model it correctly. It's some weird shortcut they took, but
it allows you to like soar across the map.
Well, yeah, I never knew that, and I've been playing since 2013. I never knew this until like a couple months ago. That if you get enough speed going and you pull back, you can actually cancel out the downward. But if you keep going straight, I mean, I've got it to where I just circling the map. You can get going faster than the fighter jet, dude. You can get booking. Like, it's awesome.
I've never done that myself because most of the time when I get in to just fuck around and waste time, I just get a fast car and zip around the map. I figured out that on the Sanchez, you can get from the southernmost accessible point on the map, which is this tiny little corner of the fencing at Los Santos International Airport.
Okay.
You can get from there to the northernmost point of the map, which is the very tip up in Paleto Bay.
Yeah.
You can get all the way there on a Sanchez in following roads up until you don't have roads, about 7 minutes.
Okay. And that's your favorite, is just to do that? Just to try to speed run that?
Just doing that and just driving around the map, seeing how quickly I can get from point to point learning the map itself as well, so that like, okay,
I love turning.
I'm on Forum Drive,
yeah.
and I need to get to the LS Customs up in Rockford Hills.
Yeah.
I've got to get out onto the I got to go this way, go down to Murrieta Heights, hop on the Del Perro Freeway, take that, get off in the center of town, take that up by the Arcadia building, get off there right by the Union Depository,
yep.
take the road the Union Depository is on, take the lower road all the way up towards the Rockford Hills Police Department, hang a right there, and you're just about there to the LS Customs. Like, that's the type of shit I like.
Yeah.
Just knowing the town. Like,
yes.
I can get from anywhere to anywhere in Blaine County in that game.
Yeah, I love turning off the mini radar, the mini map, and just really, because you don't realize how much you look at it until you turn it off, and then you're like, oh fuck, and you kind of gotta like look around and be like, where am I? I love doing that. I love
I use the fuck out of it when I'm in like a online. I just recently got the Ove Omnis. I fucking love that car. It's that little rally car.
Yeah.
I love it. And I'll take that to the really windy ass roads up in like Chiliad Mountains and the Zancudo National Park or whatever it is, Chiliad Wilderness, and just zip around those roads. It's so much fun. I love this is not talking about a cult, but you know,
cares?
We'll get there.
This is my podcast. We can do whatever we want. There's you can get like the super ramp in director mode, which is like, I mean, it's like 60 degrees, and it's mean, it's legitimately like the height of like Maze Bank. And so you can go up there. I loved going up, and then you can build your own ramps. I would build my own ramps that would be, I mean, taller than Mount Chiliad. Just like 60 degrees, and I would go into director mode. I would turn off traffic and pedestrian, so it's just me. So I'd fly up with a buzzard. Actually, I would get in the fighter jet. I'd get in the what was it, P997 laser or whatever it is.
Is that the mill one, or is that the training one?
No, not the.
I think that's the mill one.
Training one's the Bezra, right? Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Or the Bezra, whichever. Yeah. I'd vertical it, and I'd park on top, and then I'd spawn the barracks. The big fucking...
Oh, yeah.
But if you go straight down on a 60-degree, like, self-made ramp, if you look at the dashboard, you can get that fucker going up to 200. And it's just... It, like, defies reality.
I think the fastest I've gone in GTA was 158.62 miles an hour. I was just looking at my online stats yesterday.
Yeah.
And that was in the Vigilante. The car that looks like the old Batmobile with a rocket in the back of it. Yeah. I got that thing going 150 some odd miles an hour.
Without ramps.
But I don't mess around with like director mode that much.
You should. I didn't start. I didn't start until this year, and it's a fucking hoot. It's with the T20, I can get it up to like 120, but I could never get faster than that. In director mode, turn off all traffic and just start fucking tearing around the highways, and turn on rain so that you can take really long. You can just drift for like a quarter mile. You can get it going to like 140, but I found if you just go vertical, you can drop in the barracks. You can get the barracks going up, but they all top out at like 200 actually. But you go straight down. But then what I would do is I'd just ride it onto the highway, and it will keep going 200 for like 4 or 5 seconds, and then it will come down to like 120. But I would do that, and then I would turn on traffic. So I'd just come down to the barracks doing 200, and just going into oncoming traffic, like, and you'd hit a car. Dude, I swear to God.
Destroy an Astrope.
Dude, I have never flown farther than coming down with a barracks doing 200, hitting a city bus, going through the windshield. I swear to God, I must have gone 1,000 yards, dude. It's fucking amazing. You can get the tank. You can get the tank going up to like a solid 100 miles an hour. Like that motherfucker.
I remember.
Yeah.
GTA 3.
Yeah.
The moon gravity, you could fly a tank.
Yeah. You could turn the tank backward. Yeah.
I flew all the way from the furthest north part of the map across the bridge all the way to the other end of the GTA 3 map.
Yeah, I remember my brothers. I remember when they figured out that you could turn the turret backwards.
Yeah.
And it was like a mini Project Orion. You would just go faster to the point where you were you were just skipping along at like 200 miles an hour. That was
and cut on moon gravity.
Yeah. Do you remember
hit a bit of a jump and you're gone.
Do you remember flying cars from, I think, San Andreas? That might have been GTA 3, actually. The flying cars cheat. You didn't even have to hit anything. You'd be driving along, and you could just pull up as if you were flying a plane, and it would just, you just take
That must have been San Andreas, because
it was
really the only two things I ever got to fly in 3 was I actually got good at flying the Dodo.
Yeah.
And the Rhino. I was better at flying the Rhino than I was the plane.
Dude, you should fuck around with. I'm telling you, man. It sounds stupid. The motorcycle. I'm telling you, you should try flying around with it because it's more difficult than you think. Like you can't do a hard turn because you'll lose all your momentum and then fall like a rock. But I mean, if you can get it going, you can do like flybys as if you were a fighter jet. I would go by and just like. I would buzz like the military base while in my bike, and you'd hear like as they'd start shooting they'd start shooting missiles at you.
Yeah.
But because you're not in a plane, you don't have any warning. You know, like because you're on a fucking bike. So instead, you see them flying around. But because you're so tiny, it's hard to hit you. So you'll be going around like 10 feet off the ground as missiles are flying by you, and you're just in this bike doing like. 7/10 of like Mach or the speed of sound. It's just, it's fucking great. That and getting in there and trying to land. I love trying to land the 747 or the Hercules.
Yeah,
I love trying to land those in the tiniest spots. Not even like.
Have you set one down on the top of the Maze Bank building?
I can get the Bezra on top, and one time I got the Miljet, but it was all fucked up. I don't think it really counted. It was like kind of on fire. But I cannot get the 747 or the Hercules. Well, the problem with those is I can't get them in the game. Like I can't get them and like land them in my own thing. I always get killed. So I can't spawn them. So all the other shit, if you own it, you can spawn it in director mode just like that. So if you break the Bezra, you just beep, hit it again, and you get a new one. But with the 747,
online, if you can buy both of those online if you just grind a little bit to make money, and you can use those in director mode.
I am philosophically opposed to going online because I feel like that's why there's no GTA 6. Plus, I played online a little bit in 2016, and I got hyper addicted in like a week. And I was like, I got to cut this off now. This is like heroin. More power to you if you can, but I cannot. So it's
see, I've got enough other shit going on in my life. I don't have time to get addicted.
Yeah. See, I'm dangerous like that, but no, I can't. I can land the Miljet vertical on the side of Maze.
I have not done that.
I can do that and not break it. I can go and land vertical and turn off the engines, and I have it. It's like, I mean, I look like fucking Spider-Man. I'm just on the side of it. I'm just like hugging it. And then what you can do is you can like get back in. You can like close the landing gear and then open them again, and it gives you like a bump, and you fall off like you're like synchronized diving. And you like fall, and then you gotta hit the engine to try to take off again. Yeah, I try to do some like weird shit. Yeah, but fuck, we've gone way off into the weeds. But
this is absolutely not what we were talking about.
I don't give a fuck. It was fantastic, but we're coming up on 75 minutes, and I gotta do some more shit. So let's wrap this bitch up.
Okay.
Hey man, thanks for the episode. Thanks again. It was a beautiful ending. I love chatting about Grand Theft Auto. I'm so happy someone else plays. Yeah, most people they just kind of look at me and their eyes glass over. I'm glad that you know the actual names and vehicles. Yeah, another thing to do.
Like I said, I know fucking street names and shit.
Dude, get those. I love getting the Zentorno, matte black it all, and then I put off-road tires on it. It's the Batmobile.
Oh my god,
that's a sexy bitch. Yeah.
I like putting whenever I get it matte black with either red or orange
lights.
Matte on the stripes.
What about do you ever do all black with like red lights on the bottom? Yeah,
I don't do much underglow. I've got underglow on the I've got a D-Class Tornado custom that I've poured probably close to $1 million in game in the Bennies to customize it to I've got white underglow on that. It's white and blue. It looks gorgeous. And yesterday I was in playing around, and I put $275,000 into putting the best hydraulic system in that thing. I can almost get that thing vertical bouncing it on hydraulics.
Fuck yeah.
It's awesome.
Fuck yeah. I love the Tornado. I love going in and I make like a 1950s like what I imagine like an FBI car. I go like shiny black, big chrome fenders, big fat tires, no tints.
Drive out to Chile and pretend you're investigating the Roswell crash.
Yeah. Some of them you put no tint. Have you ever got the Roosevelt?
Yeah. I did.
Yeah, I love that one. I love making like an FDR. Yeah.
I've got the Z class.
Yeah, Z-Type.
Z-Type, that's it. I've got the Z-Type in story mode.
Nice.
I've got it shiny black with red accent.
Ooh. I made one and I made it the Trumpmobile in 2016. I had the Z-Class and I made it all gold with money tires and everything was perfect, the perfect disgusting gold. And it was just because it's the car company is Truffade. So on the back it's just got a big T.
Yeah.
I made the Trumpmobile. It was just this golden goose. It was the gaudiest thing. It could do like 110, 120, but it's just like urine gold, but perfect. And it's last thing. Yeah, I wish that they let you mod out everything. I wish that you could mod out like city buses and cop cars and riot gear.
I wish I could do a lot of the off-road mods and shit like that.
Yeah.
I wish I could lift shit rather than just dropping the suspension.
Yeah.
Because I've got one of the Vapid Staniers.
Yeah.
The in-game version of a Crown Vic.
Uh-huh.
Which the Crown Vic IRL is one of my fucking dream cars. Mm-hmm. I want it so bad.
Fuck yeah.
So I've got one of those white, black off-road tires, and I'll take that thing up a hill in a minute.
Fuck yeah.
I've driven that thing up to the top of Chile more than once.
Fuck yeah.
But I wish I could just mod the hell out of that to off-road, like put the shit that you can put on like the Rumpo and the Sand King XL on that.
Yeah. The Sand King lifted up is a fucking beast.
Oh yeah.
That thing towers over everything.
Oh yeah.
You get the sand.
Even lowered it still.
Even lowered it's
when you go all the way down to I think it's
with competition.
Is it race or competition? That's the lowest. Competition. Even at that, it's still the tallest thing on the road.
Yeah.
Unless somebody's driving around in an off-road Rumpo.
Yeah, fuck that. Yeah.
Or the Dubsta 6x6.
Yeah. Well, no. Even the Dubsta 6x6 lifted or at maximum is lower than the Sand King at competition. There might be a GTA purist out there who's saying that's false, but I've compared them.
Somebody in the comments will correct us.
I've compared them. Yeah, I've compared them because I always have the whenever I play this, I have all my like imagined lives. I'm like, this is like my business car. This is like it's just me playing a game, but fuck it, that's the beauty of escaping. I always get the. Sorry if I'm keeping you, by the way. I get really excited about Grand Theft Auto.
It's fine.
I love it.
I'm actually, after we finish this, I'm going to let a friend know. We're going to hop in online and just fuck around.
Fucking right.
Driving around, like I said, just driving around San Andreas.
I love, I don't even, like, shooting and shit's fun, but I love just, like, really, really modding a car to exactly what I want. The Enos Windsor, that one, shiny black with a chrome grille.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Lower that one. But some of them...
What is is it the I'm picturing it in my head. It's not the Rebel, because that's the Canis Rebel. That's what
you put like flags on the top.
Trevor gets. That's Trevor's default car. It's one of the old beater trucks that you find out in the county.
Yeah,
that you can just turn into a Baja beast.
Yeah. You can strip off like everything.
Oh yeah, you can pull the bed off.
Yeah,
and put a custom
it's just
Baja bed with 2 spare tires.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I love getting that and just blasting through the Sonora Desert.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, I do love how there are some cars that you can't buy, you just have to go find. There's a beauty to that. It's like a rare wine. Yeah.
Standard.
Yeah.
Standard was a pain in the ass to find in story mode.
You go get that one. Don't sleep on the Brawler, but what was the one I was thinking of? Some of them, I find that there's like some of them you gotta go matte, and so because they're completely different like vibes, right?
Yeah.
You know, some of them like for like the Windsor, like any like
Feltzer. That's gotta be matte.
Yes.
Orange.
Yes. A Lambo, you can go. I love doing like a creamsicle, like an orange, and like a not like a frost white, but like a very off white, like slightly like a beige, right?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with beige. I love beige.
Yeah.
I own typewriters. Of course, I like beige.
Fuck yeah. What's like the Hummer knockoff, the Patriot or the Mammoth?
The Mammoth Patriot. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mammoth Patriot. You do that one. You do that one with black windows, black tires. No, what I do is I do that one like the army green. I do matte green, make it like a nice army vehicle.
Yeah.
And then
I like doing it yellow and taking it to the off-road races.
Nice. Yeah, it's some of them you just got to go fucking like. There was what. Some of them it's the wild card, but some of them you can put like a mean like secondary chrome, secondary color. Chrome. Yeah. Some of them it's just I don't know, but then
I really don't like cream on just about anything but a bike.
Yeah. I don't
like the Bati.
I was about to say the Bati. Yeah.
Chrome secondary color. Man.
Oh no. Dude, Bati, I always go full matte white and then no carbon pieces, and then tires I get the not the ice, but the one above ice, Solidus. It's not chrome, so you can secondary color it. You can make the bike almost 100% white. Man, it's like the white knight. That's the one I always use when that's my the Bati at the what is it 801?
Yeah, the Bati 801.
The Bati 801, yeah. Yeah, I always pretend that I have like a Jamaican accent. Hey, Bati, but I do that. But that's my flying bike. That's what I use to fucking like buzz the turn.
So wait, you say it in a Jamaican accent. So now I have the idea. Now my brain just pictures you just soaring through the air, listening to Blue Arc.
Yeah, just Bati.
Move, just the bike flying.
Oh, and the tanks will shoot at you if you get low enough. The tanks will shoot at you, and it's dude. You really skim down. You can hit like a soldier with like the back tire. You're pushing like 250, dude. You'll go flying.
Just that. Vanishes.
Just vanish in a red cloud. Yeah, but if you're not paying attention, sometimes you'll be like changing the camera to like see, and you'll turn around, and it's very rare because you're a tiny bike. But sometimes you'll like turn around, and there's just like a millisecond of just like terror as you see the face of a 747, and you're like 6 miles up. You just see like, you just done. But you'll blow up the 747. You'll shear its wing clean off. But the
their flight plans.
Yeah, the Bati.
Thought you were going to Jamaica. Not today.
Not today, motherfucker. We're going to hell. What's the
bottom of the Alamo Sea?
The Vindicator. I love the Vindicator. I do that all matte black. The Vindicator is like the $600,000 bike.
Yeah,
it's huge.
It's not as fast though.
No, it's not. But it's smooth. I love taking it. I went on like a bike kick like a couple weeks ago. I went on a bike kick of trying out all the different bikes, and
I did that online with all the off-road bikes.
Yeah. The one of them has like the best acceleration. It's not the fastest. I think it's the Akuma.
Yeah,
it's the Akuma. That fucking that's great for like inner city because you're constantly stopping and going. And
I love running from the cops on a bike because you can hit alleys and shit.
Yes. Right, and it's also there's a certain thrill because things that you'll be able to go over fine in a car will just fucking ice you on a bike.
Flying.
That's why, dude. I swear to God, Grand Theft Auto over the years, this Liberty City, San Andreas, over like the last decade and a half of gaming, I have no intention to ever get on a motorcycle because I'm like I have played so many tens of thousands of hours of Grand Theft Auto. And I know from everything, no matter what, Get on a bike, you're fucked, because a bike, and if you try to go reckless on a bike, it's game over.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think I'll ever own a bike. It's from Grand Theft Auto. It's.
See, I want a bike in real life.
Oh, it's not.
I will get one at some point.
No.
I want to get an old Indian.
Fuck that, not for me. That shit terrifies me. Because I have every mindset of just like hitting curbs, like just running from the cops. But,
yeah. Well, see, I also don't plan on running from the cops in real life on a motorcycle.
That's true, but when
you never know.
Yeah, when the Jehovah's Witnesses start chasing you down with their henchmen, you might need to be running, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say last thing.
JW Secret Police.
Exactly. I do wish that you could mod two final things, and then we'll wrap this up. I wish you could mod emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
I wish you
EMS
could go with
mods on a cop car.
Yes. Oh my god, I would love if you could get the what the fuck is the noose not cavalcade. It's
I have no idea what the noose vehicle is.
It's like, but it's a black Suburban.
Yeah.
I would love to get that motherfucker jacked up with sirens and everything. That would be awesome. Yeah, off-road. And also
I've got a cop horn on my Stanier.
Yeah. And I wish you could do bulletproof windows. I hate when you get like a fucking fresh new car and the cops start shooting at you and it's, the bulletproof windows, sure, you got armor, sure, but then just all the windows are shattered. That's some gay shit.
Yeah.
Lastly, I wish you could mod out aircraft. I know you can in online, right?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't own any aircraft on online yet.
I wish you could in Story. I wish you could mod out, get a luxury jet, but put in some like afterburners.
Oh man, that'd be awesome.
Right? You just really go big pimpin' billionaire, because those billionaires have got to have like afterburners on their shit in case shit hits the fan.
Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Oh yeah.
All right, man. Let's wrap this bitch up. Up. Till next time.
Yeah.
All right, big guy.
We don't know what the next topic will be, but I hope to be back on again.
You will be. I like talking to you, man. We have a good time.
All right.
But all right, man. Stay safe. God bless.
Dude,
and
maybe next time we'll be ranting about the Branch Davidians.
Maybe. Do whatever we want, man. I don't give a shit.
I'll do some research.
Yeah, get some research. Prepare a presentation. Let's do a Branch Davidian episode.
All right. Let's do it.
I'm pretty slammed for the next about 2 weeks, but I'm free anytime after that, mid-November to late November.
I'll find out when I got research. This next couple months are going to be rough for me. They're just around the time that I lost my grandmother. So
I
got through some shit with the family and all that.
I got you, man. Gotta grow. Gotta deal with that grief. I mean, like I said, I don't give a fuck. We can touch up again in January. I don't give a fuck. This isn't going anywhere. All right, big dog. Peace.
See ya, man.
Later, buddy.
Take it easy.
Good talking, man.